Welcome to another powerful episode of Let Me Take You Higher, the podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Villain, and today we're diving into a topic that cuts deep, both in its gravity and its impact on countless lives. We're not pulling any punches today, as we're tackling the disappearance of Indigenous women and the shocking lack of support they receive from our government. Our special guest today is Kay Nichola, an advocate and a voice for Indigenous women everywhere. Together, we'll explore the heartbreaking reality of these disappearances, why they're happening, and what's being done, or not done, to bring these women back home. Now, while we aim to shed light on these issues, it's crucial that we also provide real resources for those affected. If you know someone you know needs help, here are some vital lifelines. The National Human Trafficking Hotline is available 24/7 at 1-888-373-7888. And the Strong Hearts Native Helpline offers culturally appropriate support at 1-844-762-8483. This episode is about more than just awareness. It's about action. So let's get started, because these women deserve nothing less. Welcome again to the Let Me Take You Higher podcast, where we are discovering and talking about the random trafficking of Indigenous Native women.
Storms rage, skies grow dim. We gather the shards, piece by piece within. Through tears and trials, we find our might. Let me take you higher toward the light. Let me take you higher beyond the pain. Where broken dreams mend and hope remains. We'll rise from ashes like a phoenix bold. In the symphony of resilience, our stories unfold. When life storms rage and skies grow dim, we gather the shards piece by piece within. Through tears and trials, we find our might. Let me take you higher toward the light. Let me take you higher beyond the pain. Where broken dreams mend and hope remains. We'll rise from ashes like a phoenix bold. In the symphony of resilience, our stories unfold.
Welcome to the Let Me Take You Higher podcast, where we do a deep dive into the stories and issues that matter most. I'm Mr. Villain, and today we're shedding light on a topic that's as heartbreaking as it is urgent: the trafficking of Indigenous Native women in America. This is just a statistic. It's a human tragedy that often goes unnoticed, but today we're bringing it front and center. Joining me are two remarkable guests, Kay Nichola and myself, both Indigenous women from separate tribes who are here to make and share their insights and experiences. What's the hot mic, you might ask? Trafficking of Indigenous women in America. It's an underreported crisis that continues to devastate communities across the nation. Why is this happening? Well, how can we stop it? Indeed. And more importantly, how can we protect the ones we love from falling victim to this heinous crime? Now, we have in our studio today Kay Nichola, who is from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a member of the Sioux tribe. And I'm going to ask her a couple of questions because she would know more than anyone else. Kay, are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Awesome. You happen to be a Native American of a very respected Indigenous tribe in South Dakota.
But
Right. What is your take on the Indigenous situation for women in your area?
So it all the way goes back from the beginning of time. Really, I it's just starting to get the recognition it's always has deserved. Um, from the beginning of time, women had been going missing from slavery to now. There could be one white woman who goes missing and she could be plastered all over the news
Hmm.
and everything.
Right.
And I just don't feel like
So,
as much light that there should be more light shed on Native American women.
okay, I get
Yeah.
that part, and of course, Indigenous women, Indigenous tribes, Indigenous people have been put on the burner for many, many, many centuries. So, what is the situation with Indigenous women going up missing in your area? What have you noticed?
I've noticed it's usually women who are, in poverty
Hmm.
or are in vulnerable states or abusive
Okay.
relationships. I feel like those women are very easily targeted,
Okay.
or someone who even just so easily walking down the street,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Because I've heard situations where there's this big white van and it's kind of mysterious and
Oh, yeah.
scary, and the van just stops and they see like an Indigenous woman walking on the side of the road, and they just grab this woman and put her in the van. Is that accurate, or are we over embellishing the truth about what's happening to Indigenous women in South Dakota and other lands across the nation?
I feel like that is accurate somewhat, but it also could be guys in just regular cars or people you don't even expect it.
Right.
Um, it it people that you wouldn't even think,
Yeah.
and
So, what I mean, are you saying that, like, say for instance, you go to a bar and you're drinking and you're hanging out with friends and whatever? Are you saying, or do you think that people that are random in that area are like putting stuff in the
yes,
drinks?
it's actually has happened at Hello High in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. There has been some situations that has happened, and it's very easily it's Native American, Hispanic women
Hmm.
pretty much most of the time.
Right. So you are saying that random people in Sioux Falls, and and we're only saying Sioux Falls because this is where Kay Nichola is from, and this is where her tribe is located. But we're saying Sioux Falls because is there a higher percentage of people taking advantage of Indigenous women in Sioux Falls?
Um, Across this whole state of
Okay.
South Dakota and just the surrounding states in general. For example, Rapid City,
Okay.
a lot of tourists and people go there,
Right.
um, and those people are very very easily targeted the most.
Okay.
There's actually a Native American male of a friend of a friend of a friend on
Mm.
my Facebook who is a
Okay.
male who went to travel to Rapid City.
Okay.
I believe her name is Marissa. Her man, he has been missing for like 3 weeks or something like that. He's a
Okay.
Native American man who went to go visit Rapid City,
So you're
and there's been many cases, and it's starting to be even men now, not just women, Indigenous.
okay. So you're saying, do you believe that there's a plot on the Indigenous Native Americans, not just women, but just men
Yes,
and women?
yes. From the beginning of time, I believe that the
Now you
it's
that
it's that's where I get into like a conspiracy almost.
okay,
I feel like from the moment of the beginning of time that they're trying to kill off the indigenous race because
okay.
this is a Native American land,
This is your
and
land,
those are the people that are getting targeted
right? I
even
remember.
to this day.
Yeah, and I remember when I was growing up as a kid, we used to sing a little hymn back in the elementary school days, and I want to date myself, but it used to go like this: "This is your land, this is my land, from South Dakota, whatever." But I mean, I want to get into the the rabbit hole of that. But I guess what I'm trying to figure out is I see the posters where they have the red handprint over the mouth of Indigenous women.
Yes, No More Stolen Sisters is the movement.
Okay, what's it called again for people who might not know?
It's the No More Stolen Sisters movement,
Okay.
for younger women and children and yes, as well.
Hmm.
Uh,
So what? No. So
they have been. So the thing is, like the conspiracy and even some proven
okay,
cases, they're human trafficked
right.
or even killed and their organs are stolen.
So you're saying there's some black market action happening with the organs, then?
Yes, it's very much deeper than that, and it's been going on, like I said, from the beginning of time. They have they have been used.
So now, with this being said, now there are it's a big conspiracy amongst black bodies swinging in the breeze. You got the black men, the black women. They get killed, unalived, I will say, by and I hate to say it, but people who are there to protect us, the police. And I'm not just saying it's the police. There's a lot of things that are going on with this. But what I'm trying to get to is most of these men and women in these rural counties and places around the nation have been found with no organs. Are you saying that indigenous women are being kidnapped and found with no organs in their bodies?
Not every person
Okay.
with no organs or
All right.
whatever, but sex trafficking, that's
Oh,
and like human
yes.
trafficking, that's another thing that ties into it.
Hmm.
A lot of the women get sold, raped, killed, murdered, or their organs or
Yeah.
whatever it is that they're doing behind closed doors. Because how is it there's thousands,
Oh, there's
millions of
thousands.
just disappeared? Oh,
Yes.
but Gabby Petito, the white girl, all of a sudden they could just
Yeah.
track her and find her.
They
All these
found
people,
her within, what, a
they could
week?
find if they could just find this white girl like that,
Right.
and she got all that recognition. What about all these other indigenous women?
There is a ton of indigenous women that are missing, and their families cry out every day looking for their children. Yeah. So let's go into the origins and the statistics. The roots of this crisis are entangled in a history of colonization, systematic racism, and ongoing neglect of indigenous rights. According to the Indian Health Institute, Native women are disproportionately targeted for trafficking and violence, with murder rates up to 10 times higher than the national average in some areas. In 2020 alone, over 5,712 cases of missing indigenous women were reported, but only 116 were logged in the Department of Justice database. These numbers reflect a chilling reality. Indigenous women are more likely to go missing and less likely to be found. And that's from our government. So I guess my question to you is, as being an indigenous Native American, what is going on?
I feel like a lot with the like press and such, it gets covered up.
Oh,
It
yeah.
gets covered up. And I do have a little bone to pick with Christy Noam
Okay. Now,
because
for our audience, before we go any further, now, Christy Noam, from what I know, is a governor of South Dakota. She is a Republican, and there's nothing wrong with Republicans. All are welcome, but it seems to be prevalent against Republican national interests that they don't look into these crimes. And let me tell you, on a later date, we're going to do the same kind of episode, but on little black women and little black girls who go missing all the time. But let me know your gripe with Christy Noam.
ugh, I had went to this Christy Noam
Mhm.
protest like against her.
Right.
And you know, and there was people of all colors, a
Yeah.
lot of white people, and the people that got arrested when
Yeah.
was tear gassed, only Native Americans.
So are you saying that Christy Noam had people tear gas you guys? No, I'm just saying Native Americans. Are you saying that she had you guys tear gassed?
The police department of Sioux Falls, South Dakota,
Was
yes.
she?
It
Was
was
she?
a protest against her, and it wasn't even getting violent or anything,
Okay.
and they let us have it, but they kept blocking us off on purpose, the
Right.
police, to where they had to make us go on the main road, so then they had to tear gas
Oh
us.
yeah. They
So
remember
they
the
actually
Wounded Knee.
tricked
Yes.
us, so And then
Mhm.
they go on the news and they make it sound like another thing,
Right.
like there was this, like, wild, out of control and it
Situation.
wasn't even like that, and this was already a couple of years ago, but
Right.
still, it's still relevant to today 'cause she's still the governor.
She's still the
But
governor.
she has ignored, the votes to even to, make weed legal.
Right, so marijuana is a big
Yeah,
thing
that as well.
in South Dakota, and
I feel like she ignores her people a lot about a lot of things, not
right.
just about the indigenous women. She she does what she feels is necessary to benefit herself and not for the people of South Dakota, indigenous people
Of South Dakota.
specifically, yes.
So, basically, I guess what we're gathering from this is Kristi Noem is a hater. No, I'm just kidding. She's not, I'm sure she's not a hater.
Oh, she's a little
Is she a little
she's
hater?
at my homie Night Shield a while back.
Uh-oh. Shout out to Night Shield if you're out there listening, Night Shield. We got your back. Let me just ask you, though, because I'm not from South Dakota. I don't know Kristi Noem like that. I know she kills puppies. But aside from killing the puppies, is she helping to kill Native Americans? And she's not putting a helpful, watchful eye on the Native American population, especially when it comes to women. Clearly, something's not right.
She's not putting awareness on it. She has brushed it off. She
Right.
doesn't talk about it. She knows it's there. People bug her all the time.
Yeah.
And she knows.
You told me, I think you told,
Knows
right, and you told me,
exactly what's going on.
you said that you were talking to Kristi Noem on one of the social media platforms. You want to go into that story?
I didn't talk to her like face to face,
Okay.
but almost about a couple years ago, shortly after the protest,
Right.
I think a lot of people were just angry about things.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of maybe harassed.
Well, I mean, you were,
Get
look,
that horseback.
it is your First Amendment right.
But it's I only was angry and mad and saying the stuff I was saying because
Right.
it's like you're ignoring the people and you're just out here. She's putting on this front and
So you're, wait. So let me just ask you,
oh,
are you saying that you don't believe Kristi Noem cares about indigenous Native American people in America?
she cares about her and like her quotation people, like
Okay.
the people she wants to care about. Because if she cared about all the people of South Dakota, why has she not made an effort
Yeah.
to shed light across the world? 'Cause she's
Yeah.
a very famous governor, right?
She has a platform,
Yes.
guys. I mean, she does.
Shed light enough on this. This is the biggest situation, actually, of
Yeah.
people missing, people.
Thousands of women are missing, indigenous
That
women.
should be like the main thing. One of the main things she is
I mean,
about.
you would think that it would be on the top 10 things she had to do. I mean, I don't know what she's doing.
This is just talking about all this other. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
I
no.
think she's busy writing books about killing puppies, but I don't want to get into it. I don't want to do that. That's not my thing. Okay. But notable figures in advocacy, several activists and organizations have been fighting tirelessly to bring attention to this issue. Deb Howland, the first Native American woman to serve as a U.S. Secretary of the Interior, has been a vocal advocate for missing and murdered indigenous women, the MMIW. I think you should look them up and join if you can. Her efforts, along with those of grassroots organizations like the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center, are crucial in pushing for policy changes and raising awareness about indigenous women. I just want to know, you are an indigenous woman, so I'm going to ask you, do you think the government's doing enough?
Hell to the motherfucking no.
Absolutely. That's, guys, you heard it.
And it goes deeper.
It
'cause
does.
it is not just indigenous women. It is Black women.
It is Black
Women
women.
of color. And
Yes.
that is why I'm like, "Nah, Kamala.
Kamala. Come on, Kamala. Look, just so we know, I just want to set the record straight. Look, we don't do real political
There's a war
podcasts on
women,
this.
right?
There is a war on women. I believe it. But I'm guessing you're gonna vote for Kamala.
Yeah.
I won't release who I'm voting for until the day of. But at this point, I believe Nicola's right. She's saying that her people need help, and as Americans, everyone's an American. We don't get to pick and choose. That's the beauty of America. So if one person has a crisis and needs help, we all have a crisis, and we all need the help. So with that being said, Our counterpunch today, guys, are pros and cons of the current efforts. In this segment, let's break down the pros and the cons of the current efforts to combat trafficking and play the devil's advocate. So the pro on this, the increased visibility of the MMIW movement has led to a greater public awareness, more resources, and legislative action aimed at addressing the crisis. It has also empowered communities to take action and support each other in the fight against trafficking. Now, this is human trafficking, guys. It's not just the indigenous women that are being trafficked, but they are screaming for help and we're not listening. The con on this, despite these efforts, there are significant challenges. Law enforcement's slow response, jurisdictional issues, and the lack of coordination between federal, state, and tribal authorities often hinder investigations. Additionally, some argue that the focus on trafficking diverts attention from the broader issues of poverty, addiction, and domestic violence that also plague indigenous communities. What do you think about that? Now, in your communities, what's going on? Let's dive deeper into what's going on in your community.
From personal experience, I I even I just know there's like a war on Native American people, a silent war still to this day. Like
Okay,
when I had been in jail,
right.
not perfect, mostly Native American men
Yeah,
and women. When I was in Vera behavioral health, mostly Native American
Yeah.
women.
right.
Uh, it's just,
Well, I would tell you, look,
and like I'm not saying like, like statistically and just stereotype like,
yeah,
oh, they're alcoholics or this or that, and it's like, no,
right.
because honestly, everybody be turning up.
Everybody be turning up.
Turning up, but it's just they're targeted.
No,
They're
you guys are
targeted.
targeted.
And and how is it the land of the Native American people?
Right.
They are suffering the most out of any
I would
race
say
in
so.
America.
Nowadays, yes.
Even more, like, Black people and Hispanics are still
Yes.
suffering, but even more.
I believe it.
Than that.
And you
That's
guys
like-
are a rare nation. I mean, there's not many indigenous Native
It's-
Americans.
To this
Yes.
day, from the beginning, to they're trying. The government, I strongly believe, is trying to kill off the indigenous people.
Okay, so what do they get out of that though? What's the plus? What's the plus for the government to systematically destroy and eradicate Native Americans?
To make them feel better about themselves, like, oh, well, they're not here, it's ours now.
Okay.
Like
I mean, because you guys have treaties still on the boards that you were supposed to get. Oh yeah, we won't go into that's a whole other episode. So do you believe the government is targeting indigenous people because they don't want to pay out on treaties? Or is it just a black market scheme for the organs?
it's a combination, and I feel like with the organ
Yeah.
stealing thing is even much deeper. Like I said, it's just people of color as well.
Yeah.
Like, with the whole like drug trafficking with
Right. You're talking about the 80s crack indulgence by the CIA?
No, like the cartel stuff going on. People get
Yeah.
kidnapped and their organs are out of their body.
Well, I know. I mean, guys, this is so
I think it's I have this theory,
Mhm.
theory
right.
that y'all know Jeffrey Epstein.
I do. I don't know. Wait. Before I don't know him. I do not know that guy.
Island he got or had, which someone did buy over. I wouldn't know that. Anyway,
Well, I mean,
but it got some
he got a happy ending, but not the one he
going
wanted.
on there.
You're right.
Um,
We won't go into
but
that.
I believe he and whoever he's working with
Yeah.
is behind this organ sex trafficking thing, because you realize how he just got killed and so many people are shut up. I feel it would
Yeah, all of a
it's a
sudden.
deep thing, and all these things are connected. I feel like all of
Okay.
it is connected. Like I can't explain it,
Look.
but like everything, it's crazy to
Yeah.
think. But I think, not that I'm saying like, oh, Diddy or Jeffrey Epstein did it, but it's just the people that they work with.
Trust me, their friendships and their friends go back many handshakes. Yeah, we're the
They were
buddies.
like he was like the biggest guy in that shit, Jeffrey Epstein. And
Mhm.
he got killed or killed himself.
Now we will say that
Up a lot of other people.
we might as well just tell everyone
They
that
target Jeffrey Epstein and all
Mhm.
those people he worked with. They targeted vulnerable or indigenous women or
I would just say release the black book, because in that black book you're gonna find everybody. It's not gonna be It's not just gonna be Bill Clinton, the Princess of the Prince Andrew, and Donald Trump. I don't want to say it too loud because he's running for president.
hiding out in England over there.
Oh yeah, I mean this guy had reaches everywhere. We're not gonna get into conspiracy theories today, but we know where.
On
Yeah,
this topic specifically.
yeah. When you go down the rabbit hole, you're gonna
Yeah.
find out a whole bunch of
That's
rabbits.
what I was trying to stop or prevent, because the whole missing indigenous swimming, it goes down the rabbit hole
Yes.
of
There's a lot going on in America that we don't talk
there's so
about.
much deeper.
It's a
Like,
lot deeper.
it is very crazy, and not everybody, not even me, has the answers. Like,
I mean, I
I
think
get
the
it.
answers are elusive.
Oh yeah,
For
we're
being
getting
honest.
somewhere.
Yeah,
Getting somewhere. Like, people are opening their eyes, and like with TikTok and the way everyone's connected now, like,
yeah. There's
they
like,
don't like that. That's why they're trying to ban. Oh,
And by the way, guys, we are currently on TikTok at Let Me Take You Higher at TikTok. I mean, it's pretty simple. But with that being said, I think that we should go into the deep dive on how we can prevent this. Prevention requires a multifaceted approach. Education, awareness are crucial, but so is systemic change. Strengthening the sovereignty of tribal nations, improving data collection, and ensuring better coordination between law enforcement agencies are all essential steps. We also need to support survivors with resources for recovery and reintegration into their communities. On a broader scale, combating the underlying issues, poverty, lack of education, and access to health care, can reduce the vulnerability of Indigenous women to trafficking. It's also a building their future where Indigenous women can thrive without fear of disappearing. So, guys, this is such a great topic, and it's a horrible topic at the same time, but it's a topic we need to talk about because there's so much going on that we just don't recognize, that we don't see. So let me ask you, Kay, what do you think can change the tide?
well,
Yeah.
I have strong hopes if Kamala is president. You know?
And we're not taking any
But
political stances.
anyways,
Right.
I do feel like if just I'm not trying to make it political, but they are the ones.
Politics plays a key.
Yeah,
It does. Mm-hmm.
but it also raises a red flag that those are the ones that are like ignoring the situation.
Right. I
With
mean,
the
we've
people,
all.
with us people as
Yeah.
Americans, we know
Well, we know.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And I just
We
feel like
take it
people
on.
talking about it and
Yeah.
talking about it. And there's nothing wrong with just talking about it and spreading awareness. And that's all I feel like that
Yeah.
can be done,
That's all you
because
can do.
sometimes there is only so much you can do.
Right.
Like I get very frustrated on this topic.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. America's ripe with this kind of topic. I mean, if we think about it, guys, so we have an election, and we're just going to glance over it, but we have election November the 5th. Make sure you are registered to vote and you early vote in huge numbers for whatever candidate you choose, because that candidate will guide us into the future. And if you are lucky enough if you have read Project 2025, it tells you what the Republicans are up to, and you can go to KamalaHarris.com to figure out what the Democrats are up to. And that's just, that's kind of just where we're at with that. But let me just tell you, the higher point today on today's segment is that trafficking of Indigenous Native women is a stark reminder of the ongoing challenges faced by Indigenous communities in America. The higher point here is that while the issue is complex and deeply rooted in historical injustices, it's not insurmountable. But by working together and raising awareness and pushing for systemic change, we can create a safer, more just world for all Indigenous women and Indigenous men in kind. Sure, Kay Nichola, what are your thoughts, and how can we turn the awareness into action? What can we do to get out there and speak louder than our words on this topic?
I feel as if there should be more protest.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about just connecting with people.
You have to connect with people. It's important.
It is just, it's so beautiful, and
Mm-hmm.
just more
It's key.
events, more things.
Yeah.
And just I just feel like there's people who have platforms and know it's
Yes.
fine. There's a few indigenous people that are have a platform and
Right.
they don't use
And they
it.
don't use it.
They don't use it, and it's like, as an indigenous woman,
Right.
and I love my indigenous people to the fullest.
Right.
But, I feel like as an indigenous woman, I feel as if you are obligated
You are.
to talk about this because, for example,
hmm
I feel like just up until past 2020, Native Americans are slowly starting.
Yeah.
Wow, they can act.
I
They
mean,
can do it. They can
right.
speak
Yeah.
Blacker people.
They're more to
I've
them.
seen since like reservation dogs. Like that's the first
Right.
thing. Like they don't get. They don't get.
Look,
It's
I'll tell you this.
they can do so much just more than that. Like they just don't. They don't get the recognition for so much.
Right. And I'll tell you this, just a little bit about myself. I'm Creole, which is a big percentage of Native American. I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it's there. But I've only noticed what's it not Reservoir Dogs, but Reservation Dogs as a show.
Like a word or whatever.
Right. And it's on Hulu.
Yes.
So give your support there. One of the only Native American band that I'm aware of, and sorry for my ignorance because this is the only one I'm aware of, is Redbone, and that's a great band. And then you have the Crying Indian from the 70s. So that's the wrap up of Native America, and I think there should be more. So, but with that being said, our closing remarks today, guys, is thank you for joining us today on Let Me Take You Higher. Thanks to my guest, Kay Nichola, Sioux Native American from South Dakota. And remember, the fight to protect Indigenous women is ongoing, and it starts with each of us. If you don't have allies in today's society, you don't have anything. So let's keep up the conversation going and work towards real change for Native American women and all minorities that are suffering in the walls of America. Thank you again. And we do really appreciate you guys. You can always hit us up at Let Me Take You Higher podcast at gmail.com. If you have any questions, have an idea for a show, or you just want to be on the show. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and God bless you.
Love you guys.
Bye. And that's a wrap on this episode of Let Me Take You Higher, the podcast. Big thanks to our special guests, and a huge shout out to our incredible sponsors. You guys are literally the wind beneath our podcast wings. Remember, this show was dreamed up and brought to life by yours truly, Mr. Villain, and it's all made possible by BC Entertainment LLC, a proud subsidiary of Big Cheddar Music LLC. All rights are reserved by BC Entertainment, so don't even think about touching that dial without permission. Until next time, keep your minds elevated and your vibes higher. This is Mr. Villain signing off. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and stay forever gifted and lifted.
When life storms rage and skies grow dim, we gather the shards piece by piece within. Through tears and trials, we find our might. Let me take you higher toward the light. Let me take you higher beyond the pain. Where broken dreams mend and hope remains. We'll rise from ashes like a phoenix bold. In the symphony of resilience, our stories unfold. When life storms rage and skies grow dim, we gather the shards piece by piece within. Through tears and trials, we find our might. Let me take you higher toward the light. Let me take you higher beyond the pain. Where broken dreams mend and hope remains. We'll rise from ashes like a phoenix bold. In the symphony of resilience, our stories unfold.